non-negotiable. The quality of your life is a direct reflection of what you have made non-negotiable. And most people, when it comes to critical thinking, don't do it. I mean, what most people call thinking is nothing more than rearranging pre-existing prejudices. What most people call thinking is nothing more than rearranging pre-existing prejudices. They don't really think. And if they do think, they're not clear on what the problem really is. They don't tell the truth. Or if they do decide to tell the truth, what they've identified is not the problem, but rather the symptom. And what most people are spending all their time doing is trying to solve the problem that isn't. Holy cow, no wonder nothing's changing. We're all working on the problem that isn't as opposed to the problem that is. Does that make sense? Hello? How you doing? Are you running out of ink? Good, that's what I want. Keep on talking. Yes, ma'am. Are you about to tell me something? Can I what? Of what? A practical example of what? The quality of your life is a direct reflection of what you have made non-negotiable, not your standards. Everybody I know has high standards. Do you know what the problem is? The problem is exceptions are the enemy of excellence. That's the problem. Exceptions are the enemy of excellence. That's not Keith, that's Aristotle. Aristotle said that. We wind up running our lives with exceptions. We don't plant a stake. What's your name? Ming. Ming, watch. We don't do this. I will not tolerate exceptions. We don't do that. We don't even want to commit. You know why we don't want to commit? Because you can't commit if you're still looking. We don't want to stop looking. We want to keep all of our options open. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which has killed countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one commits, providence moves too. All manner of meetings and material assistance arise in one's favor that no man could have predicted. You've heard that all your life. We just don't pay any attention to it. What's non-negotiable? Your time. You don't ever make exceptions. You do make exceptions. Sometimes, there it is. Sometimes she makes exceptions, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. We all do. And that's what's holding us back, because everybody believes that if you do the best you can have what you want. You can't. You can't have what you want if all you're willing to do is the best you can. So that's number two. Number two, I'm working on critical thinking here. Critical thinking is about, number one, taking thinking time. Number two is getting clarity on the problem. Number three, who in here has ever been on a debate team? On a debate team. Good. For those of you that have been on a debate team, you're going to recognize this. For those of you that haven't, let me tell you what it looks like. If I was on a debate team, my debate coach would bring me a subject. They would say, capital punishment. And they would say, Keith, you are to prepare for the debate. They don't tell me whether I'm for it or against it. They just tell me to prepare for the debate. And my coach knows that I'm ready to go into the debate once I can successfully argue either side. I just said something very important. You got to be able to argue both sides. You got to be able to win the debate arguing for and be able to win the debate arguing against. And once you could win the debate by arguing either side, now you're ready for the debate. The same thing happens with business decisions, investing. All of that is the same. Most people get anchored to a certain way of thinking. They start seeing what they want to see that supports their previous conclusion. And they begin seeing only the data or only the information that reinforces that. And what I tell people is this. Get ready to write this down. You have to take some notes on this. The quality of your investment decisions. The quality of your investment decisions is a direct reflection. The quality of your investment decisions is a direct reflection of the number of competing thoughts. The quality of your investment decisions is a direct reflection of the number of competing thoughts you can simultaneously entertain. The quality of your investment decisions is a direct reflection of the number of competing thoughts you can simultaneously entertain. Before you decide to invest, what you got to do is have some conflicting thoughts. Why should you do it? Why shouldn't you do it? What could go right? What could go wrong? And most people, when they get ready to invest, don't ever have those kinds of internal dialogues. They don't even think about it. Most people get blinded and they say, oh, God, I love the idea. And so they start moving towards that idea as opposed to saying, well, wait a second. Could something happen? Could something go wrong? Could this thing turn out to be a mess? Most people never even bother to think about it. So that's number 3. Have a debate. Have conflicting thoughts. Number 4. This is critical thinking. Number 4 is anytime you're using your emotions, rest assured that you're thinking about the idea, the brilliance of the idea. So it's actually on this. It'll come up in a second on the screen. So emotions equal idea. Most people get enamored with the idea, like on Rotoblock. They get enamored with the idea. Holy cow, here's this engine, 50% more horsepower, and it's more energy efficient, and it's going to these emerging markets. It's not as complicated. Boy, what a great idea. I'm going to tell you something. Pay very close attention. Name me any product or service. I don't care what it is. Cheeseburgers, shoelaces, hotels, casinos, magic markers, teaching. Name me anything. I don't care. Whatever business. What business are you in? Real estate. Charity business. Good. What business are you in? Wellness. I don't care what industry you tell me. Pick it. Give me 1 week, and within 1 week, I'll name you at least one person who's made millions in your business, in your industry. At least one person who's made millions, and at least 100 people who've gone bankrupt in your business. Write this down. It's never what you do. It's how you do it. Your success, your wealth, will never be dependent upon what you do. It will always be dependent upon how you do it. Some of you have heard me. Who's heard me speak before? Oh, bless you. So, thank you. I've used this example. I love this example. Think about if you were going to leave here and this next week there was going to be an anniversary, a birthday, a celebration. There was going to be a raise. You just closed a big deal, made a ton of money. Something was happening where you decided to go and eat out. You can think of the restaurant that, boy, oh boy, if you were really going to blow one out, this would be the restaurant you would go to. You know which restaurant? Everybody in here thinking of a restaurant? Yeah. Nobody in here is thinking about McDonald's. Nobody Nobody's thinking about McDonald's, and yet nobody has made more money in the history of mankind in the restaurant business than McDonald's. Let's take a hard look at the product. It sucks. It tastes like poo-poo. Their French fries are pretty good. The product is intergalactically horrible. The worst food on the market. And yet nobody's made more money in the history of mankind. Not only that, if you eat enough of it, it'll kill you. Right? So here's McDonald's marketing plan. Let's serve truly crappy food to our customers, and if our customers eat enough of it, we'll have no customers. It's not about the product. Can you make a lot of money in cheeseburgers? Of course you can. Can you go bankrupt in cheeseburgers? Of course you can. Can you make a lot of money in real estate? Of course you can. Can you go bankrupt in real estate? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's never what you do, it's how you do it. And so the whole idea then is using your intellect. What you're going to be focused on is less about the idea and more about the execution of the idea. Execution, management intelligence. Who knows how to actually implement this idea? So this is part of critical thinking. So I've talked about think time. I've talked about getting clarity on the problem. I've talked about having a debate in some conflicting thoughts. I've talked about don't use your glands. Don't invest money based on the idea. Invest money based on your intellect. And the reason most people have to rely on their emotions. Who in here has ever invested money and lost some or all of it? Look around. Look around. How in the world did that happen? I'll tell you how it happened. I'll guarantee you 99.9 times out of 100, looking back on it now, you're looking and going, what was I thinking about? I could have had a V8. We look back on it in hindsight and we can see that it was an emotional-based decision to invest the money. And the reason that most people have to use their emotions to try to make money is because they don't have the skills and tools. Holy cow, if you don't have the skills and tools, you have to use your emotions. You got nothing left. You take a look at all the money that you've lost. Think about this. If you still had all the money that you lost, where would you be right now? Write down on your piece of paper, here's how much money I've lost. And that's just the stuff you wrote a check for. That ain't count all the opportunities that are waltzing past you every day and you don't have the skills and tools to recognize. That didn't count. How many people in here have a business right now? Good. Let me ask you a question. How happy would you be if your business was twice the size that it is right now? I can teach you how to do that. That's what I do. I've done it. We were just in Paris teaching a follow-up seminar to a seminar that I taught in April. There were 60 people in April. There were 100 people this last week in Paris. And every one of them came to me without exception. If they did what I told them to do, they had increased the size of their business by 20 or 30% in 6 months. I had one person who's a lawyer, who's a patent lawyer. They say patent, we say patent. A patent lawyer, very narrow niche. Her business hadn't grown in 8 years. And since April, what is that, 7 months? She's doubled the size of her business, and it has not grown a lick. I mean, the reason people don't grow their business, I'm going to tell you right now, the miracle of Michael Dell is not that he started a business. Any idiot can start a business. Most idiots do. It's not that hard to start a business. Anybody can do that. The miracle of Michael Dell is that he grew it. That's the miracle. If you're in business and you don't know how to grow it, if you don't know the next step, if you don't know how to raise money, if you don't know how to hire people and get a talent, how many people in here have the thought that customers are number one? Customers are number one. I'll guarantee you your business isn't growing. If it is, it's temporary. Customers cannot ever, 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 under any circumstances, be number one. You make customers number one, and you're going to not be in business very long. Your business will not grow. What's required is not customers number one. Employees have to be number one. Indifferent people deliver indifferent service. You know why most businesses aren't growing? It's not because they're not adding new customers. It's because they're not keeping the customers they got. Let me ask you a question. How big would your business be if you still had every single customer that had ever tried you? How big would it be? It'd be freaking enormous, wouldn't it? It'd be double, triple, 10 times the size that it is right now. If you still had the problem is everybody's focused on the wrong thing. The reason they're focused on the wrong thing is because they're not learning the critical skills and tools that will allow them to be successful. So therefore they have to rely on their emotions instead of their skills and tools. Masters have rules. Masters always, always, always have rules. I got 21 investing rules that I have that protect me from me. And if I see a deal that doesn't fit my rules, I don't do it. I mean, too often people will eat anything that comes flying across the table, as opposed to saying, wait a second, there's certain things, if I'm going to be successful with my weight, there's certain things I can eat, there's certain things that I can't eat. But if you just eat everything that your eye catches, you're going to wind up having a weight problem, having a health issue. And so the people who are the most fit, who are the most successful with their health, are the people who have made rules, and then they've made them non-negotiable. They quit doing the best they can. Are you with me on this, Ming? Good. So you got to have rules. And I think most people who invest don't have investment rules, which then allows them to meet their worst enemy. I think one of the rules you got to have is stupid and small things. Let me tell you what this is about. Warren Buffett, who I happen to think is an absolute stud. Warren Buffett was on the golf course. And he and his buddies got to a par 3. And a par 3 on a golf course is the only hole where you have a legitimate chance of making a hole-in-one. So they get up to the par 3, and Warren's all ready, and he's about to take a swing. And his buddies who are with him say, Warren, let's have a bet on this hole. Warren said, okay, what's the bet? They said, $20. $20, Warren. If you don't hit a hole-in-one, you give us $20. Warren said, well, what do I get if I do hit a hole-in-one? They said, well, we'll give you $20,000. If you hit a hole-in-one, we'll give you $20,000. If you don't hit a hole-in-one, you give us $20. Warren said, well, the problem with that is that that's only 1,000 to 1 odds. I mean, I could stand here and hit 1,000 golf balls, and probably one of them wouldn't go in the hole. I mean, it'd probably take me more like 10,000 before one went in the hole. So Warren said to him, all right, look, I'm willing to do the bet. I'll give you $20 if I don't hit a hole-in-one, but if I do hit a hole-in-one, you give me $200,000. They said, no deal. Warren said, well, then I'm not going to take the bet. They said, Warren, it's $20. Son, you got $45 billion. You're so rich, you're giving 32 of it to your friend Bill Gates to give away. Last year, Warren Buffett's income net was $100 million a week. A week. Warren said, no bet. They said, Warren, It's $20. Warren said, bad odds. They said, Warren, it's $20. Warren said, stupid in small things, stupid in big things. Write that down. Stupid in small things, stupid in big things. You know what's keeping you from becoming as rich as you want? It's not the big things. People are pimping their rides. They're pimping their computers, they're pimping their clothes, they're pimping their vacations, they're pimping their houses, and then they don't have skills and tools. They don't know what's causing them to make money in real estate over the last 3 or 4 years, and therefore they're doomed to lose it. They're just following the herd. What are the Joneses doing? Oh, I'll do that too. Do you know that out of 100 people, by the time they get to 65, only 2 will be financially self-sustaining? 2 out of 100 by the time they get to 65, 2 out of 100 will be financially self-sustaining? Holy cow, if you look around to see what everybody else is doing, you're going to wind up like them. That's the problem. So you get stupid in small things. That has to be a rule. You have to have a rule, and this is one of my rules, speed kills. The faster you try to do anything, the harder it is. The faster you try to get rich, the faster you try to get healthy, the faster you try to create a great relationship. The faster you try to do anything, the harder it is. See, the problem is there's 2 kinds of time. There's 2 kinds of time, and we don't do a good job of making a distinction about this. There's vertical time, that's 24 hours. And then there is horizontal time. Well, horizontal time is a lifetime. And most people wind up using the wrong kind of time. Let me give you an example. Let's suppose that we lived in a valley, and in our backyard is a 300-foot high dam that's going straight up, that's holding back this huge body of water. So there's a dam holding back this huge body of water. We wake up in the morning, we go outside onto our patio, we look up at the dam, we're drinking our coffee, and we see a crack in the dam. What do we say? Damn! We go inside, we look in the yellow pages under dam repair people. We call the dam repair person. The dam repair person comes out, looks at the dam, and says, I can fix the dam. You say, how long? The dam repair person says, 24 hours. It's going to take me 24 hours. How would you like for me to do this? Would you like for me to repair your dam in 24 straight hours, or would you like for me to spend 30 minutes a day for the next 48 days? How do you want me to repair the dam? You say, 24 straight hours. Let's get this thing fixed, right? So while the dam repair people are fixing the dam, you think to yourself, well, I've always wanted to grow a tomato plant. So while the dam repair people are fixing, you go to the nursery. And you get to the nursery and you find a pot and you find the soil and the fertilizer and the right kind of mineral water and the grow lights, and you get the little tomato seeds, and you're about to check out, and you say to the nursery person, how much of my time is it going to take from the time I plant the seed until I eat a tomato? How much of my time? And the nursery person says, it's going to take 24 hours. So when you get home, do you plant the little seed, put some water on it, put some fertilizer on it, put the grow light on it, put the sand and loam in there, spray it for bugs, dig the seed up, replant the seed, go through this 24 hours just digging it up, planting it, putting the fertilizer on it, putting the grow light on it, spraying it for bugs? Do you do that for 24 straight hours, or do you spend 30 minutes a day for the next 48 days? 30 minutes a day for the next 48 days, right? Anything that requires lots and lots and lots of vertical time is called a crisis. A crisis. And speed is not your friend when it comes to creating wealth. Wealth is built based on compounding, and compounding takes time. So speed is not your friend when it comes to money, because every time you feel like you want to go fast, now all of a sudden you slip into your emotions instead of using your intellect. Look at the money you've lost. Look at the money you lost and think about it, how long it took you to make that much money. I mean, maybe you've invested $40,000. It might have taken you 2 years to save up $40,000. Maybe you only invested $5,000 and lost it. I mean, maybe you can earn $5,000 in a month. I'll guarantee you, however much money you've lost, you didn't spend very much time. You didn't even spend a fraction of how long it took you to make it in order to make the decision to invest it and lose it. Is that true? Yeah. Holy cow, what are we doing? There's a reason why we're not rich. We're not using our brain. We're using our glands and our emotions. Speed kills. I love this cartoon that you're about to see, so watch this on the monitor up here. Here we go. It's a cartoon. Lemonade, $500. I just want to sell one and call it a summer. That's what most people are doing. Right there. They're trying to get there so quick that they'll never be successful. I think that's a problem. And core competence. Look, if one of your rules has to be core competence. If you're going to invest money, it needs to be in something you know something about. Here's what core competence looks like to me. Core competence. Every time you invest money inside of your core competence, you're investing. And every time you put money in something outside of your core competence, you are speculating. You're gambling. You're hoping to get lucky. That's what you're doing. I remember when I was raising lots and lots of money, one of the things that I would do is if I had a real estate deal, I never took it to other real estate people. I always took my real estate investments to people who were doing oil and gas. Because those guys are all looking over the fence going, holy cow, look how much money all those real estate people are making. But they had no competence. If I wanted to do an oil and gas deal, I never took it to oil and gas people. I took it to the real estate people. All the real estate people are sitting there going, holy cow, look how much money those oil and gas guys. You can take any deal to a doctor and a lawyer. I mean, think about it. If you have to be very clear about what your competence is. What are you good at? What do you know something about? And what most people do is most people lead with their money. So you can make your core competence get bigger. You're not stuck with what you got. Everybody in here knows a bunch about something. Everybody in here knows a bunch about something. It'd be very difficult for somebody to pull the wool over your eyes on what you know a lot about. But what you know a lot about is this size right here. This is how big it is. In order to increase the size of your core competence, you begin spending time, and you start surrounding yourself with people who are experts. You spend time, you invest time, and pretty soon you have expanded your core competence, and now the investment is inside your core competence. But you don't lead with your money. And that's the problem. Most people hear about something and they start chunking money at it as opposed to saying, let me invest my time and learn about what I'm about to put my money into. Does that make sense? It's very powerful. I saw this cartoon, and this reminds me of kind of how we tend to do it. Through the hoop, Bob, through the hoop. We got a turtle trying to jump through a flaming hoop. I mean, the problem is the little turtle has no core competence. The little turtle can't jump through the hoop. But we're sitting there urging the thing along, and it's totally outside of our core competence. Critical thinking means asking questions. The better the questions, the better the thinking. Tony Robbins, I love him. Sandy and I do a lot of work with that organization. In fact, we're very fortunate. We're on the board of directors of his foundation, which is a very powerful foundation. Tony Robbins says that the quality of your life is a direct reflection of the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. The quality of your life is a direct reflection of the quality of the questions you ask yourself. And I think most times people ask themselves either horrible or debilitating questions. I think the most powerful question you can ask yourself is the question you're about to see on the screen. It's by far the most singularly most powerful question you can ask yourself in any aspect of your life, investing, business, anything. Anything. What don't I see? What don't I see? I believe that question is the singularly most powerful question I've ever used in helping me. And I will tell you what I don't see. What I don't see is my assumptions. What you don't see is your assumptions, which is another way of saying that the quality of my life is a direct reflection of the assumptions that I'm making, and most people don't ever bother to look at assumptions. They don't ever bother to look at the assumptions they're making. One of the things that I have is that I wear these little bands. You probably have seen some like this, but this one has written on it, it has, "What don't I see?" And the reason I did these is because, and I have a whole slew of them back there at our table. There should be enough for everybody. But the reason I did these is because I think it is an extraordinarily powerful reminder. I think it's an extraordinarily powerful, that's all I got. That was a good snag. It's an extraordinarily powerful reminder. So if you want one of these, I highly recommend it. I took mine off and threw it out there. I'll be getting another one at the break. It's an extraordinarily reminder to keep me focused. What's going on in my life is a direct result of unquestioned assumptions. What I don't see is what costs me money over and over again. And I'm going to suggest to you that what you don't see is what's busy costing you money. And if you'd like to have one of those little bands come back to our table, we'd be happy to give you one. I'm going to be around actually all afternoon. I'm going to be here this evening. I'm going to be here all day tomorrow to be able to answer questions, to be able to interface with you. I mean, Sandy and I own a number of businesses, and we teach because that's what I want to do. That's what she wants to do. We have, at this point in our lives, said that what our lives are about is mastery, not success. And mastery is for me to be able to fulfill my dream of if I could have one last thought. It's very powerful. If you could have one last thought and then you died, what would you want that last thought to be? Boy, what a great idea to start with the end in mind. That's Stephen Covey. Shoot, that's Aristotle. That concept has been around for a long, long time. What would happen if you began designing your life so that if you had an opportunity for one last thought, what do you want it to be? I actually was asked this question during my sabbatical. Part of my studying the world's religions involved Hinduism. I'm not Hindu, but I studied it, and I've actually spent time with a Hindu guru. And this Hindu guru taught me a lot. One of the things he asked me was, Keith, if you had an opportunity for one last thought, what do you want it to be? And by answering this question, it allowed me to exit the sabbatical, recreate my wealth, and get on with my life. And ultimately, having thought and thought and thought, here is what I want the answer to be. If I could have one last thought, it would be, whoa, whoa, whoa. That was spectacular. This is my life. I'm proud of it. I would gladly live it again, if only given an opportunity. Whoa! I'm going to suggest to you, that's playing at a different level. I'm going to suggest to you, that's not about creating wealth. That's about creating mastery. That's about creating the best me. Is part of it getting rich? Of course. Of course it is. Is part of it creating the best me? Yes, that's it. Something to think about. Something to think about. How you doing? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's extraordinary to me if you think about the human spirit. I mean, today we live in the information age. And I'm telling you, if the key to being successful was to have tons of information, everybody would be there. I think what's needed is for us to leave the information age and to enter the inspiration age. And that's a whole different ball game. That's a whole different ball game. Finding and tapping into your spirit. I heard somebody say one time, I wish I could remember the author, so I'm quoting somebody, I just don't know who, but they said this. They said, inspiration is a gift from the part of you who knows to the part of you who wonders. I think that's exceptional. Inspiration is a gift from the part of you who knows to the part of you who wonders. I think at some level we really do know. I think we really do.